you're welcome to do that, and part of why I have a hard time like talking to a big group is I like can't read what people are feeling or thinking, and I'm like, wait, like was what I'm saying like making sense, or so you're welcome to like ask questions. I might have my head down, so I might not see you, so just like yell. Okay. So I just like have some stuff written down, and I'm just gonna start reading it, and I don't know how much of it I'll read, but I'll just start. So this says at the top, it says things I learned. Sometimes it's okay to let things fail or fall apart, because sometimes that's how change comes about, is when things fall apart. I don't want to maintain ways of doing things that are failing people. I think of AmeriCorps as a way to draw money from the government for programs in places that don't have secure and reliable funding. So AmeriCorps members are going to be serving at sites that are falling apart a lot of times. And then in thinking of AmeriCorps members as like potentially like a catalyst for change at their sites, I'm also recognizing that AmeriCorps members don't necessarily have the respect, security, and support to resist systems that are failing, but also who even has the kind of respect, security, and support to challenge existing systems without taking big risks. Like, no one. So things I've been asking myself this whole year are, how can I support people in communities without supporting failing systems, and how can I support people who are bound up to failing systems if I think I can opt out of those systems. In the beginning of the year, I got pressured to teach an extracurricular class. Me and Erica did, and she like talked about it a little bit just now. I didn't opt out, partly because I was sort of forced into doing it, but also because I felt that to commit to being at PFSJ meant not jumping ship. All of the staff and students at PF want to leave at 2:30 and skip the extracurricular classes, but most people can't leave at 2:30, even though it's called the Essentials program, and even though it's not working. So yeah, I got pressured into running an Essentials class, and also running an Essentials class felt in line with how I wanted to be present at PFSJ. But also I wouldn't have been able to stay at PF in the role I ended up in if Erica hadn't been there too. I called out a couple of times when I knew Erica wasn't coming in, because I didn't think I could run the Essentials class alone, and I didn't have any other support. So in our Essentials class, we watched a lot of documentaries and movies, and played games, and tried to keep everyone in the room until 4. It was hard. I feel like I failed because I don't feel like I was able to make the class worth anyone's time. But that feeling of failure that I experienced at the beginning of my term was important, because it like destroyed and decentered any drive towards personal accomplishment or gain that I may have come into PF with, and I'm really grateful of that, or for that. PF fails a lot of its students and staff, and the reasons for that are really complex and deserve more time and attention than I can give right now in this presentation. And also, like, I really, like, there's a lot of good people there, and so in talking about the failures, and in talking a lot about failure in my presentation, I don't mean that AmeriCorps shouldn't be giving money to PFSJ, or that that school and that community and all the people there should be abandoned, just to like clarify. So I think the school fails a lot of its staff and students, but that failure doesn't belong to any one person who's there. And I'm so grateful that I couldn't go into the school and like satisfy some drive for personal accomplishment, like succeed when everything else is failing, and then leave. And then I wonder about how the drive for personal accomplishment, achievement, success can hold together systems that aren't working, because individuals who come into those systems don't want to feel like they failed or look like they failed. So I want to be honest about failure so that I can try to do better and so I can change things that are failing. So that's one thing. I guess I might as well read these other things. They're from like my POL packet. How much time do I have?
You're at 5:52.
Alright, so I'll read them. So this is another thing I learned to be careful about the gap between what is promised and what is possible. I worry about the students I work with getting stuck in that gap. PF is a college prep school, but many of the students I work with won't go to college because they can't afford it and no one teaches them how to apply for financial aid, or they don't have time to apply for colleges, or they aren't prepared academically, or all of those things, or other things I haven't mentioned. This is part of why I think it's important to let things go careening and fail and then talk about it. Because if the school is failing to give what it claims to give, then that needs to